All right, let's go with day 4. We finished reading our story yesterday, so today we get to move on with our paired selection. But first, before we do that, let's look over some amazing words and our vocab. All right, magnificent. We read about how the magnificent swimming pool tempted Laura on a hot day. What does magnificent mean? It means that it is impressively beautiful, elaborate, and extravagant. So that pool being magnificent to her when she's so hot probably just looked so beautiful because she just wanted to jump in it to cool off. Then we've got navigate. Pilots navigate airplanes from the cockpit. So the cockpit is kind of like the driver's seat of a car. What does navigate mean, though? Navigate means that you plan and direct the route for or course of a ship, aircraft, or another form of transportation like a car. So this person's obviously going to have to try to navigate their way, find a course out of this maze. All right, 21st century skills. An online reference is one type of technology that we use today. Anytime you Google anything or look anything up, you are using an online reference. How can you find out more about animals that live on a prairie? How do you use an online source? How do you use a print reference sources? So if we want to learn something about animals that live on a prairie, we know that we can log onto the internet, go to Google and type in that search bar, animals that live on a prairie, and it's going to come up with tons of sites that give us all of this information about animals that live on a prairie. What about a print reference resource? What does that mean? So that would mean that you're going to a library to find a book that you can actually hold in your hand to find information about animals that live on a prairie. And how are these sources similar? Well, we know that we can find facts in both of them, right? We can find facts on the internet and we can find facts in a book. Word endings, going back to the ing, we know that it has different functions. It can be added to verbs to form nouns or adjectives. For example, towering. The ing has been added to the base word tower to make it an adjective. So it means to rise up. When you say tower, it means to rise up. So towering must describe something that's very high. So sometimes we will say that the skyscrapers are towering over the rest of the stuff in the city. All right, multiple meaning words. You can read, sometimes you read words whose meanings you know, but the word doesn't really make sense in the sentence. And that's because the word might have more than one meaning. So what you can do is you can try the meaning that you know for the word, and if it doesn't work, you're going to have to go look up other meanings for that word. And then you'll just try each of the meanings in the place of that word to see which one makes the most sense in the sentence. All right, vocabulary. Badger, a burrowing, flesh-eating mammal. This little cutie right here. I don't think he's cute. Come on, he's kind of growing on me a little bit. A little smile. No? All right. Well, to each their own. Bank, the rising ground at the edge of a lake, river, or sea. Bristled, we know, is short, stiff hair, just like on these cute little hedgehogs. Jointed, a place where two things come together or are joined, our elbows, our fingers. Patched, mended with a scrap of material. So anytime you've got a hole in your jeans or maybe in your shirt, you can get an extra scrap of material and you can put it underneath and you can either sew it on or even iron it on. Ruffled is a strip of closely gathered material like the skirt, and it almost gives it a ripple or a wavy effect, so that's ruffled. Rushes are marsh plants with hollow stems, and they look like this. Alrighty, and we are actually going to pull up our paired selection now. Okay, so we are talking about 21st century skills here. So we've already talked about online sources. So right here they have pulled up an example of an online source about Laura Ingalls Wilder, who is actually the author of our story this week. It says, after reading the selection from On the Banks of Plum Creek, you want to know more about the author Laura Ingalls Wilder and about the book. So to learn more, you go to an online reference website. So over here, it says, first you find links to a dictionary, an encyclopedia, and other reference sources. So you decide to click on the encyclopedia link. Then it takes you to the encyclopedia search page where then you type in what you're looking for, which in this case is Laura Ingalls Wilder. And then you click it and it's got a new page that opens up with the search results. Those search results say that Laura Ingalls Wilder is an American writer of children's books. Born in 1867 in Pepin, Wisconsin, Laura Ingalls Wilder wrote 8 books in the Little House series. She began writing the books in 1930 and completed the last book in the series in 1943, and she died at the age of 90 in 1957. So we have found out tons of information just from looking online. Then we've also found out, it says, next you decide you want to find out more about On the Banks of Plum Creek by Laura Ingalls Wilder, so you find these results in the encyclopedia search. So now we've typed in On the Banks of Plum Creek. It says it is the 4th book in the Little House series, and it tells the story of Laura Ingalls Wilder's childhood in Minnesota. In the story, her family moves from Kansas to Walnut Grove, Minnesota. In real life, the family moved from Wisconsin to Walnut Grove. The story is mostly about the adventures that young Laura had with her sister Mary and her dog Jack. So that's kind of cool that she actually based her stories off of some childhood experiences she had with her sister. In real life, young Laura had a dog named Jack. However, Jack did not move to Plum Creek with the family. Why did Laura include Jack in On the Banks of Plum Creek? Her readers enjoyed Jack in the first 3 Little House books. As an author, Laura decided to include Jack in the 4th book, even though in real life he never lived in Minnesota with Laura. And then over here it's got some pictures of her and her family. So you can find out all kinds of things by using the internet to search for facts. You've actually got an assignment today. When you are done watching this video, I want you to go to Google and I want you to find some facts on Laura Ingalls Wilder, and I want you to pick one that stood out to you and share it with your classmates. All right, guys, test day is tomorrow. Please make sure you have studied everything and you are looking over everything and do your absolute best. Y'all have got this.